Hey, how you doing? It's Tim. So I'm getting ready to wrap up my day here, heading into the weekend, and I wanted to share just what was on my mind about how to help you to be successful, especially if you are in the coaching business. That is who I am really focused on helping and serving is people who are entrepreneurs, business owners, anybody that's out there trying to save the world and make the world a better place, right? So that can be business coaches, it can be authors, speakers, people that have wellness companies. You might be in a networking group or a multi-level marketing group. And, there's so many ways that we can help people grow our business or with our personal lives. And that's my favorite kind of person to work with because that's who I am. And so, if that's you, then you're going to really get a lot out of this quick message. If it's not you, you're still going to get a lot out of what I'm going to share with you because there's two tips that really separate people from get people that get what they want. I think I've worked too much today. My brain's getting a little tired. There's two things that differentiate people that get what they want from people that don't, right? The people that build wealth and have successful companies and businesses versus the people that are constantly struggling, that are always feast or famine, that are constantly up and down and never really feeling fulfilled. And those two things are, you got to be a an implementer and a completionist, right? So what does that mean? Well, an implementer is somebody who gets ideas, gets tools and strategies that have been proven, and then puts them into action. That might seem obvious that if you have some seeds in your pocket, you got to put them in the ground so that they can grow because they won't grow in your pocket. But how many people struggle with focus, with motivation, with procrastination? I know what to do. I just can't get myself to do it, or I'm overwhelmed, or I know I need to do something, but I'm afraid. I've tried before and it hasn't worked out. And now I'm afraid that it's not going to work out again. And I don't want to deal with that disappointment. So I'm not even going to try. And a lot of times that's not a conscious decision. That's an unconscious decision because it's our brain's way of trying to protect us from shame or guilt or disappointment or feeling less than, because how come I haven't figured this out? Or how come I'm not farther down the road than I am? I should be so much more successful, and I'm running out of money, or I'm running out of time, or I'm running out of ideas. And so what happens is we hold back. I mean, most of the people that I've coached that weren't entrepreneurs really struggle with being an implementer, right? They really struggle with getting ideas or getting direct feedback and putting it into action. But even entrepreneurs are that way. I remember writing a chapter when I was training hypnosis students 10 years ago. And I wrote a chapter for a training manual that says, listen to your coach, listen to your trainer, right? And because I met so many people that would hire coaches or go through a program and then try to reinvent the wheel and do it all on their own because they were so self-expressive. Well, I can do this better. And, oh, I want to do it that way. And they weren't following the proven formula. And then they were running into all kinds of problems. And then they would blame the trainer, or they would blame the program, instead of taking accountability and realizing that if you've got an amazing recipe for, I don't know, for making chocolate chip cookies, an amazing recipe, and someone gives you the recipe and then you start changing the recipe, well, that's on you, right? You got to follow the recipe. And a lot of times people aren't doing that, right? For a variety of reasons. And so I said, if you're going to hire a coach, do what they tell you. And when they give you an action plan or they give you steps, do it. There's a whole thing out there where people need accountability coaches. Why do you need an accountability coach, right? If you want to achieve a goal, then, and you have a proven path, then why don't you just do it, right? Now, I know the answer to that, and part of it is just because of our values conflicts that we have and our limiting beliefs that sabotage us. But if you think about it, why do you need someone standing over you to be able to go and get things done? Now, having support, getting feedback, having encouragement is essential. And I get that. But having someone stand over you just so that you show up when you're going after something that you say you really want, that's a little confusing, right? And so I don't need anybody standing over me when I'm going after a goal. If I want to get back on TV, then I'm going to keep pitching people and keep coming up with new ideas until I find, that producer that books me. I've been on TV over 50 times, right? So I'm just going to keep going after it. I don't need somebody to stand over me because I'm an implementer. So maybe if I'm not making progress, I'll hire a PR person, or I will read a bunch of books, or I've been in Steve Harrison's, I forget what it's called now, but his media training publicity summit, that's what it is. I even flew to New York, across from Times Square, and hung out with a whole bunch of speakers and authors and people who wanted to be on TV, and trained for them for a week. I did that a couple of times, and once online and once in New York, because I'm an implementer, right? If I can't figure out how to do something, I'm going to learn from people who have expertise in that. And then I'm going to get that support, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to put it into action. Right. And that's what's allowed me to get on, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox News, whatever it may be, the TEDx stage, right? Because if there's something you want, you go get it, right? You might need the tools and the strategies. You definitely need the mindset training. I've spent more time developing my mindset than I have on finding the latest tools and tricks and strategies and techniques, because those change all the time, right? Every day, someone's got a new plan for how you're going to get 1 million followers on Facebook or YouTube or whatever it may be. And usually their plan, they won't tell you, but their plan is, you got to spend $5,000 a day. So you can learn how to do that differently. And oh my goodness, my son is calling me. So I'm going to have to call my son, and we'll pick this up, and I'll explain this in part 2. So come back and watch part 2 of this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Family first. Hey, Aiden.